So we've got bootleg Dark Viper AU here, only much less charismatic, making much worse content, and just generally a much less intelligent person, and basically worse in every category. That is what Isaac Butterfield is. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? Like here, I want to... Dark Viper AU. Like, tell me the resemblance isn't uncanny here. So here's Dark Viper AU. He's also Australian, by the way. And here's Isaac Butterfield. So Isaac Butterfield has a bit more of like a weird fucking beard going on. Did not mean for that to rhyme. While his is a bit more kempt and better looking. But they do look pretty similar, and they're both Australian. I don't know what it is, if there's like a style in Australia where like dudes have this hairstyle and the beard. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if that's like a Australia thing or something, but you know, it be like that sometimes. But Isaac Butterfield is basically your run-of-the-mill, large-channel, reactionary type where he's constantly making videos, for the most part, that are shitting on the left and progressive movements. Now, I don't know if this is 100% true because I can't be fucked to look into it, but I have heard that Isaac Butterfield is actually pretty progressive economically. Like, economically, he's pretty progressive. But when it comes to social issues, he's quite a bit more right-leaning, which gives me the impression he's more on like this like populist, anti-woke, kind of like Nazgul light type shit, but he's not a Nazi. He's like, it's hard to, usually when we think about pro-left economics and pro-right social beliefs, we usually would call them a Nazgul, but this also implies that their social beliefs align with those of a Nazi, and I don't think Isaac Butterfield's a Nazi. I just think he's like a reactionary. So yeah, that's basically where he is. He's like a populist, anti-establishment, anti-woke kind of dude. So Australian Caleb Maupin? No, I don't think so. But regardless, 4 days ago, he made a video calling out Cops Hate Mo. And if you guys don't know, Cops Hate Mo, I'm rapping right now. If you guys don't know, Cops Hate Mo is a friend of mine. They're from New Zealand, I think. Listen, all the Britbonger type accents confuse me, okay? Australia, New Zealand, Wales, the UK. The UK? England? Is that it? England? Britain? I don't fucking know. Literally all these accents mix up for me. Like, there's a few differences, but for the most part, they all confuse me. But super cool person. They're pretty pog. Cops Hate Mo? Very cool. And so our boy Isaac Butterfield here is indulging in the age-long tradition of large anti-SJW YouTube channels going after smaller YouTube channels run by trans people. You guys remember how much of a staple of the anti-SJW community that was back in the day? All the shit that Milo Stewart and Riley Dennis got back like in 2016 and shit, where like Sargon of Akkad and all those people would send just waves and waves and oceans of harassment towards these, at least in the case of Milo Stewart, like literally a teenager. But yeah. With that said, though, love Cops Hate Mo. Pretty sure Isaac Butterfield's a pretty rabid transphobe. I mean, I've heard him say some transphobic shit before, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to go ahead and check out this video where he's calling out a friend of mine. And go ahead and simp. That's what we're doing. We're simping here. Do we want to... We'll go 1.25 at the playback speed. Here we go. All right. Good luck, everybody. Love you all. Let's watch.
It's about time that I told you this, that I broke the news, that I'm a liar, you see? I'm a big, dirty, rotten liar. My pants, they are on fire. All I do to my people, the good motherfuckers out there, is lead them astray, lie to their faces on a weekly basis. Well, all of this is according to a YouTuber called Cops Hate Mo. And Mo is no happy with the old Buttsman, not at all.
Hello, hi, my name is Mo.
Hey Mo.
So who is Isaac Butterfield, you may ask?
Uh-oh, this is not good.
Well, Isaac...
Oh, God, he's doing that thing. So you ever see, like, this is okay, I wouldn't point this out unless it didn't... Okay, if this didn't happen in almost every right-leaning response video that I watched, I wouldn't point it out. But I noticed this trend where someone will react to a video from a left-leaning person, and when nothing disagreeable is said, they feel the need to insert some commentary, I guess to like buffer the time. You'll notice that whenever I watch a video from a reactionary that, I disagree with or whatever, I don't feel the need to pause on every word they say. Only when I notice something that's worth calling out, when they make an argument I disagree with, or they do something, maybe it could be like physically on the screen, that is indicative of something relevant to the thing that I'm discussing or my overall point in regards to that creator, their political views, or so on, right? But yeah, we stand Mo. Mo is really pog.
Is your classic anti-SJW YouTuber. He also happens to be from Australia, which is a shame.
Yeah, okay, sure, anti-social justice warrior. I'm anti, radical fucking people in general. People who are all about controlling speech, getting rid of police, abandoning prisons. Everyone needs fucking safe spaces everywhere. Everyone's oppressed. Everyone's a victim. All of those type of people. Fuck those type of people. And yeah, I'm a...
Okay. Wow, we just got a bit of a word salad there, but this is taking me back to 2016. Let's go over every one of the examples he brought up here.
Okay, sure, anti-social justice warrior. I'm anti, radical fucking people in general. People who are...
So, radicalism. So this is actually pretty interesting because you would always hear this from like the old school anti-SJW types, many of which nowadays literally identify as white nationalists, or even if they don't, they push literal white nationalist arguments. It always starts as like, oh, I'm just not in favor of any type of radicalism, left or right. The crazy SJWs that want to censor everybody and take away our right to free speech and so on. I don't like those people. The far right people who are crazy and want to kill gay people and keep women in the kitchen. I think those people are crazy. It always starts there, this like weird enlightened centrist kind of thing. Yeah, here, let's continue.
We're all about controlling speech, getting rid of police.
All right. Controlling speech. I have yet to see an example given by a more right-leaning anti-SJW type YouTuber of a left-leaning person with any level of institutional power pushing for outright censorship. For example, in America, with like the First Amendment. What I have seen, though, is very powerful right-leaning leaders, such as Donald Trump, trying to inhibit people's rights to express, to free expression and protesting. I've absolutely seen that. We've had it here with the BLM stuff. Also, abolishing police. If you're in favor of freedom, then abolishing the police is not like a radical thing to you. The police are literally in place to make sure the state can keep a pretty strong lock on the people. If you're like a libertarian type guy, like you like freedom, you like, freedom of speech and all these things, it's not going to be SJWs and pink-haired college students that are going to take away your freedom of speech. It's going to be the state. And, hey, chat, who are the enforcers of the state? It's the police. The uniformed, armed dudes with, that rove around the street, arresting people for committing crime. Those are the people that would uphold any destruction of free speech in this country, or around the world, really, wherever there are police and a government that wants to impede people's rights. It's not going to be college students, okay? Protesting against whatever isn't harming anyone's freedom of speech. That's not how it works.
Banning prisons. Everyone needs fucking...
Banning prisons. I've never heard a left-leaning person say abolish prisons or ban prisons, meaning like get rid of there being facilities to keep those that are dangerous or commit crimes. No. Typically, it's about prison reform. Maybe you have an issue with like the wording of the phrases, but the idea, the most common idea, at least in regards to left-leaning people talking about prison, is trying to change our prison system to be more rehabilitative rather than retributive. Like, for example, what country is it that has like these world-class prisons? I think it's Finland. Finland, you can be an actual murderer. You can be like prosecuted for committing murder. And when you go to prison, you go there and they will provide you with like, oh yeah, most Nordic countries, like Norway is pretty good too, but I know Finland is like really good. They will provide you with a college education in like practical fields such as tech, and they will help you get a good job after you get out as to keep you from committing crime in the future. Those countries have very low recidivism rates because they are providing their inmates with the ability to not be poor anymore. Whenever because poverty obviously leads to crime. This is a pretty well-known sociological and criminological fact. So yeah, I don't think people pushing for prison reform are calling for prisons to be just gone, just destroyed. Also, is that a condom? Is that a condom wrapper on his shelf that says stinky dick? I think that is a condom wrapper that says stinky dick on it. I respect it, honestly. Oh, and a Pickle Rick plushie. This is a interesting catalog of items that he's collected here.
Safe spaces everywhere, everyone's oppressed, everyone's a victim, all of those type of people, fuck those type of people. And yeah, I'm Australian too, what of it?
Here are some of the cinematic masterpieces that Mr. Butterfield has created of late. Isaac is a reactionary who doesn't know what a reactionary is.
I know what a reactionary is. It's someone who reacts to shit on the internet. Duh.
I'm gonna assume that's a joke. If he doesn't acknowledge it, then I'm going to assume it's a. That sounded like he was joking.
Okay, I don't know what a reactionary is. It appears I'm very unaware of this term. Please explain it to me.
In political science, a reactionary can be described as someone who holds political views that favour a return to a previous political state of society that they believe possessed characteristics that are negatively absent from the contemporary status quo of society. I hope that helped.
Well, congratulations, Mo. You just read that out of Wikipedia. It appears you don't know what the fuck you're talking about either. The idea...
Oh, shit. Somebody made a video that's meant to educate somebody, or sorry, a segment of a video that was meant to educate people on the meaning of a word, and they quoted the Wikipedia article for it? Oh shit, Isaac Butterfield, are you a high school teacher? Is Wikipedia not allowed to be used in when referencing something? Are you not allowed to cite Wikipedia? I didn't realize that we were writing an essay here. Do you need me to have my thesis statement and then 3 supporting paragraphs and then my conclusion statement at the bottom? Do I need to follow like the what is that template called? I remember it in high school. What was it called? Anybody know, where you have like the opening paragraph, then you got the 3 supporting paragraphs of like the main part? MLA. Yeah, do I need to make my video in MLA format as well? Cornell notes as well. Do I need to do that? I have to make my videos in MLA format, although you probably should make your videos in MLA format, to be honest. It is the best way to convey information. No using Wikipedia as a source. Is that what we got to do here? No. Okay. Well, if Isaac Butterfield's issue here is that it was not an original enough definition of reactionary, then I guess I'll just go ahead and give my own paraphrased version of it. A reactionary is somebody who is, generally speaking, opposing social or political progress in a given place at a given time. Like, for example, Isaac Butterfield here, I would say he is a reactionary because he provides a massive amount of pushback against more left-leaning people. For example, he likes to label anybody who advocates for radical progressive change as being a crazy SJW that he is against. That would, of course, label him a reactionary.
The idea of a reactionary was first used by French Marxists in the middle of the 1800s. People who were opposed to the idea of revolution. Okay, we now know the definition. We know that it is someone who is opposed to progressive attitudes in government. Let's use that right now to sort of understand where I sit.
That is kind of sneaky, though. It's not progressive change in government. It's progressive change in general, whether it be societal beliefs and behaviors in general. For example, a reactionary would be opposed to normalizing the existence of gay people. A reactionary would be opposed against the idea. At the same time, it could be government-related. A reactionary would probably be against something like ending segregation, like in the U.S. back in the 60s. That would be someone who's a reactionary. A reactionary may be somebody who doesn't like trans people or believe that trans people are valid or that they're like mentally ill or something like that. Someone who believes those things would be a reactionary.
Against trans rights? No. Am I against gay rights? Not at all. Am I against women's rights, the right to vote, racial equality? Am I against any of that? No, it's just the mental ones. The ones where you go, hang on, fuck on, what are you talking about? Those ones. They're the ones I'm against, but apparently I'm a reactionary because of that.
Instead of responding to a specific
Which ones? They always say this too, and I'm gonna be honest with all of you. I do believe it. I don't believe that Isaac Butterfield is against racial equality. At least principally speaking. You have to understand something. There's, even among like the alt-right, like these young dudes that end up getting kind of radicalized into the alt-right, I genuinely believe that if you ask them and you could read their mind, they genuinely don't believe that they're racist or homophobic or whatnot. They genuinely don't. At least I didn't, and I know many people who've gone through the same thing didn't. Like, for me at least, and this seems to be consistent with a lot of people like this, a lot of them don't think that what they're pushing for is bad or that it is racist. They really don't believe that. Like in my case, for example, I used to be a reactionary, so I can speak from my own my own experience. And granted, this is anecdote, but I feel like I've seen a lot of people who've had the same mindset as I did. Excuse me. The same mindset as I did. And this was basically how I thought, right? Racism is bad. I believed that the entire time that I was a reactionary. I was raised to believe racism was bad. Same goes for homophobia and so on. However, what I found would typically happen is that, let's say you believe racism is bad, but not knowing otherwise, someone comes to you with what seemed to be, because you aren't very educated on the topic, very compelling arguments in favor of like a white ethno-state. They show you like the 1350 stat. They try to show you a bunch of pseudoscience evidence that you don't know is wrong about like race realism and stuff like that. You don't believe you're racist. You may not necessarily hate black people or whatever, but nonetheless, you hold racist views. And I feel like this is a thing that happens a lot where, in this case, he's pushing against people who are like these radical progressives, and he doesn't think that he's against any of these things, but in effect, in reality, the outcome of his behavior and his advocacy, or I should say his opposition, is one that gets in the way of, achieving more equality in general, whether he realizes it or not.
Video or idea that he brings forth, I'm going to be running through a multitude of different things and just sort of lay all my criticisms out on the table. Because, oh boy, I have quite a few. These include the way he talks about trans people, the way he talks about gay people, his terrible criticisms of veganism.
I get it.
Oh no,
you're a
veganism.
Vegan and you're mad. I should have known.
Now I know that Isaac's channel is based...
Fuck. Mo. Listen, I know Mo's probably going to watch this video. I agree with vegan ethics. I think vegan ethics are completely correct. The problem is veganism is still like such a wedge issue, and you have to understand that when it comes to optics, like, let's say you want, like, if you were, I assume, at least when I make a video like this, because the title's going to have Isaac Butterfield in it and everything like that, when I respond to somebody like Isaac Butterfield, I'm hoping that some of his fans will stumble across the video, may hear my arguments and think, oh, I hadn't thought about that before. He made some good critiques. And if I'm being honest, if you're like an Isaac Butterfield fan, you're watching this right now, I don't care if you continue to watch Isaac Butterfield or like his content. If you think it's funny, you think it's funny. The most that I hope for whenever it comes to somebody who is, a fan of whatever content creator I'm responding to, is they just kind of hear my arguments and like give it some thought. That's what I hope for. That's what I ask for. So I assume, I can't know, but I assume Cops Hate Mo was going about it the same way, hoping that maybe some Isaac Butterfield fans would stumble across the video, watch it, and hear their arguments and be like, okay, they made some good points or whatever, right? The problem is when it comes to veganism, that's an issue that's going to be repellent to a lot of people. Something like your diet, especially when it comes to meat, is something a lot of people are really attached to, including myself. I'm someone who completely agrees with vegan ethics, and even I'm not a vegan. That's an issue right there that people are very easily going to be able to attack you on when it comes to this like reactionary mindset, and it's going to be really hard to reach any of the fans of Isaac Butterfield. I'm actually interested to see what the comments say. Watching this, I want to have a barbecue. I don't know what that's a reference to, but okay. I actually found some of it pretty funny. Cops hate Mo, 1 star. Surprise level 0 with Buttsmarn's smile had me in stitches. Okay, the pansexual, polyamorous, non-binary vegan joke was fucking hilarious. So this is what I'm talking about, right? What am I supposed to believe about someone's content when one of the top comments in their video is pansexual, polyamorous, non-binary vegan? What am I supposed to expect when this is a joke in your video? What is the joke here? I'm curious. Is the joke that they're gay? Pansexual basically meaning bi, but like the acknowledgement there are more than 2 genders, so you're attracted to other gender identities. Polyamorous just means that you're willing to be in a multi-person relationship. Like you'd have like 2 boyfriends, 2 girlfriends, or whatever. You know how it is. Non-binary just means you identify as a gender that isn't, part of the generally received binary. And then vegan is just being a vegan. I think the joke is summed up as mucho texto. Yeah, so you can interpret this in 2 ways. Either, oh, it's funny because there's so many identities here, which is a pretty dumb low bar of comedy. Or the joke is, oh, gay, cuck, trans, vegan. And the implication is these things are all bad. And I say cuck when I go over polyamorous because these types of people think polyamory is cucking. Even if it's like a dude with 2 girlfriends, which is pretty funny. All right, let's continue.
Based around comedy. And it's definitely not my sort of comedy. But I actually do stand-up comedy myself, so I know that comedy is subjective.
I should have seen this coming, of course you do.
But hey, to give Isaac credit where it's due, I watched some clips of his stand-up comedy to compare it to his YouTube channel. I actually found some of it pretty funny.
Oh, why, thank you. I might use that on next year's tour poster, actually. That sounds really good. Actually, what I believe in my heart that Mo is talking about here, about how funny my jokes are, is the Christchurch massacre joke, which I didn't think you'd like, Mo, but thanks for the compliment.
So anyway.
What level of bad faith was that? Jesus Christ. Oh, you said that you liked some of my stand-up comedy that you took a look at. Well, you must have really liked my Christchurch shooting joke. Like, what the fuck? Also, I'm pretty sure Mo lives in New Zealand. Wait. They said this to me on stream. Like, I think they live in or really close to Christchurch. So isn't it kind of like insensitive to, make this joke saying that this person who lives near or in the general community where the largest terrorist attack in the history of their country happened, that they liked that joke? That sounds like kind of, I guess, tasteless, but I mean, you do you, Isaac. No, but seriously, this is definitely like a very bad faith attempt at so here's the thing. Mo is a very reasonable person. When they go about making their content, they do a really good job of wording their critiques in a very reasonable way, even going as far as complimenting the person that they're responding to. I think this is really important, and this is something that I learned pretty late in my streaming, is you have to know when you can compliment the person you're responding to, okay? You can't hate everything about somebody that you're responding to. You can't, because it makes you come off as being a piece of shit and as being an overly sensitive, whiny asshole. This is something that's really important. Like, for example, I remember, what's a good example? Like, I covered some YouTuber who made, a music video that was, really reactionary, and the music video was very well made, and all that. And I felt the need to shit on the music video, even though it was objectively high quality. While the lyrics and the message of the video were terrible, there's no denial that the music video is well made. So, not Crowder, I don't remember, but that is an example where I felt like it was Tim Pool. It might have been. That is an example of where I feel like it's really important to be able to compliment the people you're responding to, where it's valid. So this is something that Mo does. And when Isaac Butterfield saw this, I assume he was like, oh, well, now I have to find a way to make this person seem like an asshole because I'm responding to them and I have to make them seem unreasonable, when Mo is in fact extremely reasonable.
Anyway, let's get straight into it.
Straight into it, your video's been going for 3.5 fucking minutes. 3.5 minutes into one of my videos, I've done 4 fucking merch plugs, I've talked about me tour that's not happening because of coronavirus, I've bloody thrown in about 8 mid-roll ads and a couple of pre-roll ads, I've talked about this week's sponsor, last week's sponsor, and someone else giving me money. We're not jumping into shit here, Mo. But yes, jump into it, please.
The crux of my issue comes down to his rather generous use of the fallacy of composition. So what is the fallacy of composition, you may ask? The fallacy of composition refers to a situation in which someone infers that something is true of the whole from the fact that it is true of some part of the whole.
What? Why are you treating this like a TED Talk? This is why I went to uni for a year. I just went, I fucking hate all these people. I don't want...
I'm sorry, talking about... So this is something that's also pretty, like, vital to reactionary thought, is being very anti-intellectual in any way. When someone tries to have a very academic analysis of something or a behavior, like, they're like, What is this, like a TED Talk? I'm so sorry. Listen, Isaac, I will go ahead and put that big brain language into English for you. The idea is, it is a fallacy in which somebody sees a small behavior of a small subgroup of a massive group and then attributes that idea to all of that group. Like, for example, you see some feminist being what you would call an SJW or doing something bad, and then you attribute that to all of feminists. That is what you are doing. I apologize if Mo's video is too big brain for you, even though they explicitly make what is supposed to be educational content. I imagine you would disagree, but they do make educational content. That is their goal. You know, reality seems to have a pretty liberal bias, so I'm sorry about that. I guess that kind of breaks your brain a little.
Want to listen and learn about this shit? Shut the fuck up. And the parking was terrible too. But there was a few variables. But this shit, shut up.
Isaac finds a crazy vegan, a crazy feminist or trans person, or whatever group he's decided to make fun of that particular day. He then takes this person, tears them to shreds and says, oh, look how crazy this feminist is. All feminists are crazy, am I right?
No, not all. The ones I talk about, yeah, sure. But I try to be very clear about, I'm not lumping everyone together. That is not what I try and do. I try and pick the people that are fucking insane and cover those topics because it's fun. But Mo, I think you're full of shit.
So this is really interesting because I've also heard this argument a trillion times before, and unfortunately when I was a reactionary or a fan of reactionary YouTubers, I supported and heard this argument a lot as well. So you can say that, but when most of your content is going after people on the left, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to have that opinion. Like, look at this video. Star Wars introduces a transgender Jedi. What is this going after? What, like, this isn't some video of, like, a trans person who did something bad, right? Like, for example, Blair White will a lot of the times make a video where she, you know, finds some example of a trans... Generally, it's a trans woman. It's always a trans woman. Like, she'll find an example of a trans woman who's done something bad, and then take that and then essentially try to imply that any trans woman, it's always trans women, by the way, that aren't well passing enough, or as she believes, haven't done enough to be valid as a woman, or so on, tries to paint that as being the majority of trans people. So when you say you're just going after specific people, what is it about Star Wars introducing a trans Jedi that is bad? Is there something? Is the actor a bad person? Is the character bad? Is there? What do you disagree with a trans person being in media? And also, did they even actually do this? Or is this like a skit? It might be a skit.
Right, everybody, it's time for a test. We ready for a test? I love tests. The question is, to all of you, and who can answer me first, what does Star Wars need to do to take their films, This film reportedly wants to introduce a trans Jedi to the future Star Wars.
Okay, so yeah, it seems like there was an article about them wanting to introduce a trans Jedi into something Star Wars later in the future, and this seems to upset him. So I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on the idea that he just finds specific people that he disagrees with, completely unrelated to being transgender, or being gay, or black, or so on, and or feminists, or whatever, and then he goes after those people specifically, and just them. Not their ideology, not the whole group, just those people. If that was the case, why would he go after that? Why would he make that video? That's just critiquing or getting upset about the idea of having a trans character in media. Let's go ahead and watch.
shit when you say that I'm a bad person because I lump everyone together. I don't agree at all.
And then all his little fanboys are like, oh yes, Isaac, all feminists are crazy. Feminism is cancer. And then they go back to wanking over hentai and bullying 14-year-old girls on TikTok.
Mo's actually spot on there. That's all that happens at live shows. When you come in, the audience, everyone sits down, they get given a box of Kleenex, and we just jerk off together. I come out once everyone started, and I just...
I don't think they were talking about your live shows. I think they were talking about your YouTube channel, Isaac. I feel this is actually impressive. I'm actually very impressed with Cops Hate Mo because they were able to make a video. Granted, this is a benefit that you have when it comes to scripted content because, like, for me, I have a problem where when I do live content, it's very easy to forget certain things I want to talk about. It's very easy to trip up over my language. I don't get to edit, so my content's pretty long form. I'm watching every video that I respond to on stream for the first time. If this isn't already obvious, I've never seen this video before. I never watch videos before I cover them. So I have to come up with every argument that I'm making completely off the top of my head on the fly, which, takes practice, definitely. I was much worse at this when I first started, but the benefit that Cops Hate Mo had is that they were able to make a very, very good, pretty hard to refute video about Isaac Butterfield, and now Isaac Butterfield multiple times has had to go unbelievably bad faith acknowledging any of Mo's criticisms. Like, we had the start where it was like Mo said, oh yeah, I've actually watched some of Isaac Butterfield's stand-up, and I thought it was pretty funny. And then Mo talking about Isaac Butterfield's fan base, a very valid critique of his fan base, by the way, because yeah, a lot of these people do jack off to hentai and bully young women on TikTok. This is generally what the type of people who enjoy this kind of content seem to do for fun. I mean, I've seen, guys, I can't be the only one that every time I see some 15-year-old reactionary on Twitter, they always have a Squidward profile picture for some reason, and they're always going after female TikTokers, and they're always they're oh fuck, what was that one Twitter account? Do you guys remember that one Twitter account, women posting their L's, and it's just a Twitter account dedicated to shitting on women? This is the kind of stuff that they're into. You know what I'm saying? It's always these kind of shitlord 15-year-old white boys, Yeah, that's clearly what Mo was talking about. Your fan base, the people who watch your videos, not necessarily the people who go to your stand-up. And definitely not saying that you guys mutually jack off to hentai at your stand-up shows or anything like that. So this is just a pretty interesting way of trying to avoid a pretty valid criticism of your content.
Yell my catchphrases, I just go, vegans, feminists, and everyone's going, oh yes! And then when everyone's ready to go, I just go, vegan, feminists, and they all just go, pfft. An orgy, a bukkake party, an explosion of jizz hits the ceiling, and everybody just whispers, and you can hear it. It just accumulates into a louder, more vivid whisper as the jizz hits from the ceiling. They whisper, like and subscribe. But yeah, people really enjoy it. It's a great show. It should come along, Mo.
Now, to make it clear to any Isaac Butterfield fans that have stumbled across this video, I am in no way denying that some of the people that Isaac responds to are a bit crazy. Some of them do say pretty stupid things.
Yes, agreed. That's why I make these videos. I don't hate anyone. Sometimes this really gets to me, that sometimes you see comments and people saying that I hate this person or this group or these people. I don't hate fucking anyone. Even, this may blow you away, but I genuinely think that if I met any of the people that I've talked shit about in the past, whether it be Clementine Ford, whether it be fucking Durian Ryder, any of those people, I think that in real life, I would probably get along with them. Why? Because I'm not fucking crazy. We differ on some opinions on things. It doesn't mean we can't get along. I mean, take Mo. Mo, I'm sure you're watching this. You've got nothing better to do. Mo, when I'm in New Zealand next year and I'm doing shows, come and open for me. I will pay you. I will be completely normal and cordial to you, and we'll see if you still think I'm a piece of shit afterwards. Because I don't think you would.
So now I've got that out of the way.
That's very nice. Nice rings. Oh yeah, I blow the fattest vape rings. If I had my actual vape, this one's full of juice that I really fucking hate. Here, we'll try it. I ran out of the good vape juice. Oh yeah, Lonnie, if you're watching right now, could you buy me some more vape juice? You can just use my card. Those are kind of weak. I don't have all that much juice in here, but you know what I mean. The thicker the cloud, the better the ring.
On to some more specific issues that I have with him. The first is veganism, okay. Everyone's favourite topic. Now, I was born into a pescatarian family. I went vegetarian at about 9 and vegan at age 13.
Okay, I retract that invite.
So anyway, moving on, let's look at the way he talks about trans people. Now, I'm transgender.
Yeah, probably. It's probably best not to talk about vegan stuff when you're responding to reactionaries. Like, listen, I understand that veganism is important. He's killing his lungs. Shut the fuck up. I'm giving them life. No, but for real though, vegan ethics are good. It's good to be vegan and all of that, but it's such a like polarizing issue. It's best not to bring up when you're responding to somebody like this. You are not going to bring anybody in Isaac Butterfield's audience over if they know that you're a vegan. I'm sorry. It's true. Okay? Like, if you think it's hard to convince leftists to be vegans, imagine how hard it is to convince reactionaries or people who are kind of like apolitical edgy bros to be vegans. Oh, fucking hell. I'm sorry, but they aren't giving up their steak. All right? I'm not giving up my steak. I'm not doing it. I love me a big old burger, okay? Don't even think you're going to be able to reach those people with that stuff, okay? That's the one criticism I have of Mo's video. And it's not even like a criticism of Mo. It's more so just a criticism of the way in which Mo went about trying to appeal to Isaac Butterfield's audience.
Haha, surprise. I made many comments on trans people over the years, most of them just being edgy jokes. But make no mistake, he's mocked our identities, our struggles, even pulling the classic turf and alluding to the fact that we're bathroom predators.
A non-binary man-woman because they're unsure of their gender. Oh my god, bro. Fit within those norms, but you have to be different because it's a cool thing to do. If you've got a vagina, go to the woman's bathroom. If you've got a penis, go to the men's.
Ooh.
End of fucking story. Yeah, okay, that makes me sound like an absolute arsehole, but what Mo's done here is selectively edited things that make me sound like a horrible piece of shit. Like, don't get me wrong, I probably came across like a horrible piece of shit when you listen to the whole thing the whole way through. But this definitely reinforces what Mo's trying to get across, that I'm a huge piece of shit. And the thing with it is, Mo's talking...
Isaac, I've watched that video. I've seen the video that's referencing. Nothing that you said before or after those statements does anything to go against the message that you were pushing there. You were, in fact, saying, if you've got a dick, you go into the men's bathroom. If you've got a vagina, you go into the women's bathroom. That is what you believe people should do. This implies you don't believe... Yummy. You don't believe that trans women are women unless they don't belong in a place for women, such as women's restrooms, and that trans men aren't men because, as you said, you don't think they belong in a men's space, men's restroom.
About me selectively picking and cherry-picking data and putting up things that aren't true and stuff, but you've done the same thing here, Mo. You're a hypocrite. In fact, why don't I just do the same thing to you?
Feminism is cancer. All feminists are crazy, am I right, boys? A lot of non-vegan food is really nice. I'm not wrong. I'll probably kill myself. Wait, what?
See? Out of context, but hilarious.
So it doesn't matter if you're taking a clip out of context if the context doesn't change anything about the clip or the message itself. Listen, I am one of the most canceled motherfuckers out there. I would say maybe ContraPoints is up there too. Vosh is pretty up there too when it comes to getting canceled. I'm pretty fucking canceled, all right? Really fucking canceled all the time, all right? I'm very used to having out-of-context clips of me posted online. The difference is, though, the reason why posting something out of context is wrong is because you are taking a clip and dishonestly posting it, trying to make it seem like the belief of the person that said the thing is different from what they actually think. Like, for example, if someone clipped me saying something along the lines of, I don't know, like, oh yeah, I hate women, women are bad, get in the sandwich, get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich, something like that, right? If someone clipped me out saying that, and it was very obviously a joke, that would be dishonestly clipping out of context. But let's say I do a video and then at some point, completely unironically, I go on a rant about how I actually think women should be in the kitchen and shouldn't have rights and I hate women and stuff like that. If I go on an actual rant about that and then move on and someone clips that out of context, it's not dishonestly clipping out of context because that's what I believe. Isaac Butterfield, if you genuinely don't think or don't agree with what you said in that clip and you don't think that, you do think that trans women should be allowed in women's bathrooms and you do think trans men should be allowed in men's bathrooms and you don't think that being transgender just means that you want to be special and need to be different from everyone else, then that would be dishonest. But I've seen that video, I know the contents of it, and you do in fact believe those things.
It says it in a fucking bio. It also says the gender pronoun, so you can tell right away she's a fucking idiot.
Seems small, doesn't it? Pretty harmless. Just a little joke. Yeah, well, I'm going to have to disagree, and let me explain.
No, you may not explain. I'll explain it. I think if you are a trans person and you want to put your pronouns in your Twitter bio,
I'm going to explain why I think that it... So this is actually pretty interesting, because this is actually a good example of dishonestly clipping out of context. Because a very important root aspect of the argument that these types of people make is the idea that the left wants to take away your right to make jokes, like edgy jokes, and take away your right to just be funny and all those shit. Like I've been in that place, okay? I know what these people believe. The types of people that watch Isaac Butterfield genuinely think that the left is trying to take away their right to make funny jokes, which is not true, by the way, okay? I love edgy humor, okay? I'm a big connoisseur of edgy humor. So the purpose of what Isaac Butterfield just did was purposefully cutting Mo off before they can make their argument in order to try to make it seem like Mo is this very prude person who isn't okay with people making jokes and just wants to censor people's free speech, specifically going out of his way to not allow Mo to make their argument. It's pretty obvious, too, that's what they were doing as well. This is actually very, very impressive on Mo's part because they made such a good video on Isaac that Isaac has had to, like, twist this video to an unbelievable degree to try to make Mo look bad and argue against these inarguable criticisms. It's really funny. Literally having to cut off the video before they can make any of their arguments and, like, saying, no, I'm going to make the arguments for you. Like, trying to twist an insult into a compliment towards Isaac that Mo made, it's actually really impressive for Mo. Like, can we get a easy clap in chat for Mo? Honestly, easy clap in chat for Mo here. Absolutely wild.
do it. By all means. All the power to you, sister, brother, non-trans, gender-conforming cousin, whatever. You should be doing that if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, I don't give a fuck. If you do want to do it, I don't give a fuck. My issue is with people who are obviously not transgender doing the same thing just to look woke. Camilla Harris, right? She's got she, her in her bio. We know.
Wait. What does obviously not transgender... Wait, do you think that, like, putting pronouns in bio is... Do you think putting pronouns in bio is a trans thing? A lot of trans people do it. But the point of putting pronouns in your bio serves multiple utilities. One, on the internet, it's very possible that, like, for example, if you take the average person on Twitter, you can probably guess what their gender is just based on how they act and how they speak, but you never really know. So it's pretty cool if, like, you're going to respond to somebody or talk to somebody or talk about somebody, if you can just hover over their little bio thing, their name, and see, oh, they go by he, her, or he, him, or she, her, whatever, they, them. Okay, cool. Now I know what their pronouns are. I know what their gender is. It's just useful to be able to do. It serves utility. And also, if you're trans, it's also nice to put, yeah, I know he, her. It's also nice to be able to, you know, tell people, oh yeah, this is my gender identity, by the way. So anyone who respects trans people or their, you know, validity knows what their pronouns are and not to misgender them. Which is to say, I know a lot of people watching right now, maybe, or not right now, but watching the video, maybe Isaac Butterfans, that you probably imagine, like, misgendering is some SJW phrase. It just means you call somebody by the gender they don't identify as. Like, if you call, like, let's say you see a woman walking down the street and you call him a guy, that would be misgendering. It's not like just a trans thing. It's just calling someone the gender that they aren't. That's all that is.
Oh, you're a woman. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. He's got he, him. Tim, you're a 60-year-old man. We can tell. And the reason that I think this is ridiculous is because 99.9% of people aren't transgender and do not need to tell people what their pronouns are. Why should everybody change just to fit a very small...
It's actually, I think, 98%. I think it's like I think it's an estimated 2% of people in America are trans. And then I think it's a little bit larger everywhere else. I think it's like close to 2%. So it's not 99.99%. It's more like 98%. And 2% of the world's population is still extremely... 2% of America's population is still very significant. Like, you know that, right? 2% of America's population is like, God, I think that's still like tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands. America population, boomer typing, you'll love to see it. Yeah, 328 million. Would 2% of that be? I'm not doing the math. You are confusing intersex, not trans? I'm pretty sure it's 2%. Yeah, it's still like 6 million people. That's a lot of fucking people, okay? 6 million is still a lot, and that's just in America. We're not talking about the whole world, which has 8 billion people in it just about. The only LGBT people I support is the only LGBT I support is leftism, gulags, Bolshevism, and trans people. True.
Here is a great, just sublime example of freedom of speech in which Isaac asserts that pansexuality isn't real.
With this self-described pansexual. And for those of you who don't know what pansexual is, which should be all of you because it's not a thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can Vosh only like women now?
Okay, let me explain this too. If you wanna suck dicks, fucking good. If you wanna eat pussy, if you wanna eat ass, pussy and dicks all in the same fucking meal. Good on ya. The reason I said pansexuality is bullshit, and I stand by that, is because the definition of pansexuality is sexual, romantic, or emotional attraction towards people regardless of their sex or gender identity. It means you're bisexual.
I am a pansexual polyamorous.
Well, being bisexual would imply there's two genders. Being bisexual means you're attracted to your own, or to two genders, but generally it means your own. So like if you're a dude and you're bisexual, you'd be attracted to like dudes and generally women. But if you're pansexual, you would also be attracted to like non-binary people and other gender identities. Does he realize everything is made up? Yeah, that is true. All words are made up. I feel like as a, as someone who's probably watched one like Marvel movie, you would probably know this, The idea, like I'm pretty sure there's a line in Thor Ragnarok where he says all words are made up, and it's very true. Based Thor.
Non-binary,
Pansexual, polyamorous, non-binary, vegan!
Pansexual is simply a more precise way of saying the gender of your partner is not relevant. I've always explained it as so. It's the difference between liking a red flower and liking a flower that happens to be red.
Mo, fuck off. That's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. Let me put it this way, okay? If you like big cocks, or you like cocks that happen to be big, it's the same thing.
In this particular video, he
Not really. That's not necessarily true. Let's say you like all cocks, okay? You respect all cocks, from the little ones to the big ones, but you are happening to date somebody who's got a big fucking beefer down there, just a big old fucking, big old tube of Pillsbury dough bread, okay? You know those like tubes that you twist and they crack open and you get the dough out of them, just those big old Pillsbury tubes? Like that's like your boyfriend's dick, okay? And you like your boyfriend's dick. Doesn't necessarily mean that you specifically like big dicks. It means that the dick that you happen to like at the moment happens to be big. This is an interesting direction this video has gone in.
also made a rather large amount of jokes about Vosh's sexuality, to the point where it was like, is this actually a joke anymore? I'll leave that up to you, the audience.
He also called Vosh a pedophile, so that's, pretty funny. It's really wild because I noticed that, like, the go-to argument from, like, right-leaning people, actually, I'm going to take this back. It's not just right-leaning people. Left-leaning people do it too, okay? A really big argument I hear from people who don't have an argument against the ideas expressed by a particular person, is to, like, try to find some way to insinuate they're a pedophile. This has happened with Vosh a lot because for some reason these people have so few brain cells they can't comprehend the comparison between child labor and child slavery being bad and products made through child slavery being bad. And also, that being comparable to child porn because it's also bad because it's also made through exploitation of children. They can't really, like, comprehend the comparison there. So then they decide, oh, well, I guess that makes Vosh a pedophile. Because they think he watches child porn? Yeah, I know.
To decide.
Fuck you, cocksucker, with your hand in your little bag of chips and your other hand on your fucking mate's balls, cock smoker. Sucker a fat one. I say that about everyone. Shut the fuck up.
Let's move on to the next dumb thing that he says.
The murder rate for trans...
Damn, he's getting, like, actually, like, mad, too. Good job. Good job, Mo.
victims is lower than that of the cis population.
Isaac, honey, there are less trans people in the world. I actually can't. I can't. I fucking can't.
The data allowed for the fact that there are less trans people than everybody else. Straight people, lesbian people, gay people. It allowed for that fact. It removed that bias. Yeah? The murder of trans people because they're trans is fucking horrendous. That's horrible, but I don't think it's an epidemic. In fact, according to the Human Rights Council, since 2013, more than 130 transgender or gender expansive individuals, have been killed in the United States. Way too many. That's horrible. But if you compare that with the number of people who have been killed in America, murdered or part of manslaughter, if you compare that, the number is just...
That's why we're talking about per capita. When trans people are, as you said before, though you over-exaggerated how small, a small section of the population, when a few hundred get killed a year for being trans, well, that's pretty significant when we're talking about per capita. It's pretty... What are most pronouns? Most pronouns are they, them. It's pretty fucking bad. That's how you have to look at data, okay? Like, let's say, for example... All right, let's talk about this, okay? Let's say you got a room of full of 10 people, and you got a room full of 100 people, okay? And somebody comes in and slaughters 9 people in the room with 10 people in it. And then someone goes into the room with 100 people and kills 20 people in it. Well, in one room, you've now killed 90% of the people in that room, and in the other, you've killed 20%. So if someone says, holy shit, there's something wrong going on in that other room, 9 people were killed in that room, my dude. And then you're like, well, it's only 9. What about this room? 20 people were killed here. Well, clearly the other room is more deadly when 90% of the people going into that room are dying, and only 20% going into the other room are dying. Just because the total number is higher doesn't mean that one's not worse than the other. You have to count for per capita. You have to take full numbers and percentages into account. That's how you do statistics. Remember, per capita is only useful when we're talking about the bad a certain group does, not about whether that group's a victim of something by the majority. For example, black people being victims of hate crimes versus black people committing murders. No, I do think it is relevant because there is a problem with violence against trans people. And that violence against trans people stems from, terrible beliefs about trans people.
Slightly more than 130. It is 111,872. Yes, the murder of trans people is horrible, but it's hardly an epidemic.
Isaac Butterfield is a reactionary YouTuber who likes to make jokes at the expense of minorities. His criticisms boil down to nothing but ad hominems, cherry-picked data, and fallacious claims about entire groups of people. His assertions are unsubstantiated, and anyone who bothers to do a second of research would find them utterly embarrassing.
Well, you could have just said that instead of wasting 15 minutes of my fucking life, Mo. I will end this video by saying this. Mo seems like they are a great person, and Mo feels like they are personally attacked by my videos, and that's not why I make videos. I don't want to go out and hurt people all the time. I don't want to
shit, I'm out of
feel
water.
bad about themselves or feel offended, unless they're a cyclist, obviously, or a vegan cyclist. Maybe I do want to make people upset. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'm just a complete asshole. I merely just point out the silliness that surrounds the ridiculous world of identity politics that we live in right now. People like Mo.
That's the problem, though. There's okay. All right. There's 2 types of id poll, okay, chat? You've got... Oh, thanks, babe. There's 2 types of id poll, okay? You've got liberal id poll, and you've got intersectional, general, just intersectional progressivism, right? So liberal id poll is typically things like, oh, Pete Buttigieg is better than Bernie Sanders, despite the fact that Bernie Sanders' policies and his beliefs are way more progressive and better for the world than Pete Buttigieg, because Pete Buttigieg is gay, and we should have a gay president. That's liberal id poll. Intersectional progressivism or intersectional leftism, which is what I identify as an intersectional leftist, is the idea that both economic issues are important. When we talk about class and stuff like that, classism, poor people having it pretty bad, having to take care of the working class, as well as discussing the fact that there are, in fact, issues faced by trans people, gay people, and so on, right? There are minority groups that deal with a lot of bullshit, and we ought to acknowledge that. Thanks, babe. Pog. Yeah. So I do want to make that clarification, but I know he's not referring to lib shit dumb id poll. He's referring to literally intersectional, just literally any form of acknowledging injustice towards minority groups or marginalized people in society.
In Mo's world, I think you need to understand that you need to get over yourself. No one gives a fuck what you got between your legs, or what sexual identity you are, or what gender you are. Get over yourself. Not everything's about you. Be a good motherfucker, peace in the Middle East, be dick stinks. Keep it moist, and I'll see you all very soon. For Tulu, bye-bye.
Well, there we go. That was the Isaac Butterfield video. Damn, Mo did really fucking good there. Imagine making a response video to somebody who responded to you who has a smaller channel than you, by the way, by like a fraction. Like Isaac Butterfield has over 1 million subs, okay, and he gets proportional viewership to that sub count, okay. He's certainly not like no bullshit who gets like 10,000 views on his best videos but has 600,000 subs, right? We're not talking about a dead channel here. We're talking about a very big, very successful channel going after a video from a channel with like what, 45,000 subs. Like, Mo did a fantastic job on that. Not only that, but Isaac had to cut off parts of Mo's video and prevent them from like making their arguments because he knew that there was no way he could argue against the validity of the arguments that Mo is making. So that's pretty good. That was really good, Mo. Good job on that. That was really pog. If you like this video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like on it because it helps the video get around. It helps with the algorithm, all that kind of shit. YouTube's, garbage. If you're new and you also want to see more from me, you can also subscribe and hit the bell icon so you actually get notified when I go live or, upload a video because YouTube won't do it otherwise because shitty platform. On top of that, if you want to, you can follow me on Twitter, the link in the description. You can also go ahead and join the fan Discord if you want to debate me. I love doing debates. If you're an Isaac Butterfield fan and you're watching right now, definitely join the Discord. It's going to be the way you can debate me. You can come on and debate me on stream. Destroy the libcuck, okay? On top of that, if you've got any extra money sitting around, you don't know what else to do with it, you don't need it for anything else, you can always donate to me. It helps me, supports me financially. It's how I do this for a living. There's a little join button you can hit. Join the become a member on YouTube. It's always appreciated. You can also donate or sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live. Or if you're pretty damn based, you can also become a patron and, pledge to me on Patreon. That's also appreciated. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching and have a good one.